Hey guys, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be the first of a few-ish videos. I'm going to go ahead and create a playlist for these because I already have 3 of them filmed. But I am going to be doing some kind of home decor, Disney-inspired home decor. A lot of it's going to be kind of leaning toward farmhouse, but I also really like kind of like the boho look. So if boho farmhouse is a thing, then that. But really, it's just going to be kind of simplistic things that have like a sprinkle of Disney magic, kind of like Disney bounding for your house, right? So anyway, today's tutorial is going to be showing you guys how I made these books. So I have seen these little books. You guys have probably seen them everywhere. They put them on tiered trays, they put them on end tables. They really are just like a great staple decor piece to have because they're so easy to build around. And I just thought it would be so cute to do it in a way that's like Disney-ified, but also personal. So mine are up inspired, but I also wanted to tie in my family. I did kind of go back and forth between putting Carl and Ellie on the books and putting my family members' names, and I just opted for my family because in the end I want to display these in my home and my family is the most important thing, so that's what I decided to put on them. But this is such a customizable thing, you could really put anything on them. Anyway, without further ado, if you are interested in how I did these books and how I made the whole thing, then just keep watching.
Okay, so starting off, you're going to want to select books for this project. I know a lot of people are scared to damage books, but I will say the only thing happening to these is that they are getting painted. The insides are totally preserved and safe. I actually rescued these books. Someone was throwing them away, not donating them, but throwing them in the trash, and I saved them. So I'm just pulling the tape off of the front that was, I'm assuming, used to hold the sleeve that was no longer there. I only did it on the tops. I'm pointing out how this one has Disney on it because these are Artemis Fowl books. Because the bottoms, I didn't need to pull the tape off because you're not going to see that as they're stacked on top of each other. And then I'm using this little sanding block from Dollar Tree to sand the side, which is, I'm just sanding it enough to where the embossed title of the book is given a smooth edge. Now you can rip off the spine, that's another option. I didn't want to do that, I didn't want to fully damage it, and also I was a little concerned that the paint would be too bumpy for the lettering that I'm going to be putting on these. So I went ahead and sanded them down, and I just kind of checked between sanding to see if I had gotten it smooth enough for my letters to lay flat. I will tell you guys, the stronger your binding on your book is, the easier this is. So I found these stickers at Dollar Tree, and the reason I chose these is because they are kind of a typewriter font, which was what I was looking for. I did wish that they came in black because I could have skipped a step that I'm about to show you, but it's okay. So I'm starting out with some black chalk paint, and I'm going to paint just the spine of the book black. This is going to eventually create black letters on the book by using those stickers as a stencil, but first we have to paint it black. So I went ahead and painted that spine black, let it dry, and I did this on all 3 of the books. The good thing about chalk paint is that you only have to do 1 coat of the black, and then also it dries really fast. Like, these were dry within 20 to 30 minutes, so there's no waiting around for hours on end for your paint to dry. So once I had all of the spines painted, I decided that this gray one was going to be the top book on the stack. So I hadn't pulled the tape off of this one yet, so now I'm pulling it off and just sanding it down a little bit to make it nice and smooth for my paint. And now I'm going to go ahead and start putting the letters on. So I would highly suggest counting out your letters and making sure that you are going to have enough. I literally had the exact amount of every letter that I needed, so that was good for me. But this first book is going to say Derek and Saria. The second book will say Kala and Dalen, my daughter's names, and then the third book is going to say Our Adventure. That's kind of what I'm going with for the up theme of this. This is going to be a decor piece in my new bedroom in my new house. So I'm literally just sticking these on. I'm doing my best to align them. The great thing about this font is that they're pretty easy to keep straight because they have nice edges on the bottom, so you can kind of line up the bottom and keep going. I wasn't super picky on the first book, but the second book I really took my time lining them up, and you'll be able to see kind of the difference in how much time you take when I'm done with them. So for the and symbol, there actually wasn't one in the sticker pack, so I took the number 3 and flipped it upside down, and then I took the dots from 2 question marks on here and used them as the dot on the top and the dot on the bottom to make that little and symbol. I'm totally blanking on what that's called right now. Go ahead and tell me in the comments below. And then I'm going to go ahead and spell out my name. So if you have a Cricut or a Silhouette, you could also obviously do that with this. Do this with those tools, but I did want to make this user-friendly for anybody who doesn't have one of those machines. You also could hand paint this. I just don't trust myself to have good enough penmanship in this case. And then I'm going to go in with my white Waverly chalk paint. Actually, I believe this is Rust-Oleum. I'm using Rust-Oleum white chalk paint, and I'm going to dab it on first using a Dollar Tree sponge brush. I would highly suggest dabbing a thick layer on first, then go in and kind of smooth it on top. That'll stop the letters from peeling up while you're painting, and then you won't get a whole lot of bleed on your letters. Paint bleed, to be specific. And then just continue painting the entire book. The white does take 2 coats, and on the spine I believe I did 3 coats just to make sure that all of that black chalk paint got fully covered up. And then again, obviously make sure that your paint dries between coats. It only takes about 20 to 30 minutes, and if you put a hairdryer on it, it could be honestly probably 10. So this is what it looked like after just 1 coat of chalk paint, and now I'm going to go in and do my second one. I do like to show you guys kind of what it looks like. Something that I thought would actually be cool too is if you wanted them to look really distressed, you could just get away with 1 coat if you liked the color of the book underneath. Because all 3 of my books were different colors, I wanted them to match, so I didn't really think that would work for my project, but it might for yours. And then next, now that my paint is all dry, I did wait till the next morning to do this step. I just wanted to make sure that it was totally dry and cured, but I do think an hour would be a sufficient amount of time. So I'm using kind of a poking tool that I got in a pack from the hardware section at Home Depot forever ago, but honestly, tweezers were my best friend with this. Some letters came off so easy, like they peeled off smooth, easy, no problem. Some of them did leave a little bit of the paper behind, like right now, that's what I'm picking off of this first letter. But the tweezers did a really great job of getting in the crevices and kind of getting it all off cleanly. So see, that one just peeled off no problem. I am going to try to speed this up a little bit for you guys just so that it doesn't take 20 minutes for you to watch me peel off letters. Now for the second book, I did have a lot more letter bleed. I didn't really take my time pressing down the letters. So I am going in with a very thin paintbrush and just filling it in with a little bit more black paint. And then after doing this, I actually kind of liked the way it looked bleeding, the black paint bleeding out a little bit of the edges, because it looked more like a messy kind of typewriter. Typewriters don't type perfectly. Very odd that I know that, but guys, I did my papers on a typewriter in like 4th and 5th grade. I will never forget that because we didn't have a computer and a printer at the time. So yeah, I just kind of went in and filled in where I thought it was necessary, and if I ever did too much, then I went in with a little bit of white paint and covered that up. But we will be distressing these later on, so it doesn't really need to be perfect. Let me show you guys my third book, because that one came out super distressed and I loved it. So as you guys can tell, I even accidentally ripped a little bit of the book when I pulled off the sticker, but I'm going to touch that up with a little bit of white paint. But I loved how these letters looked so much that I decided to distress all of the letters. So if you guys look, the first two are very like black and bold lettering. The bottom book has a distressed element of it. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. This is called dry brushing, and all you do is take a pretty firm bristled paintbrush. So you don't want a soft brush, you want a pretty firm brush, and then you're going to dip the brush into just a little bit of paint, wipe off as much excess as you can, and then you literally just wipe it all over whatever you're distressing. Try to go in one direction, so I do try to go horizontal the whole time. Sometimes you'll see me like dabbing it a little bit if I wanted it in one specific spot. But if you guys can see, it makes a really big difference in making the books look uniform and like they all go together. So this next step is totally optional, but I got this bag of these wooden beads off of Amazon. It was a really good price. I will have it linked in the description box below for you guys. And then I picked out these 4 colors. Unfortunately, I only had 3 pastels, so that pink I will be turning into a pastel by mixing it with some white paint. The blue color I'm using is called Key West. That is going to be a bead to represent my husband. The second color is called Lime Sherbet, and these are all paints from Walmart. The third color is Lavender Sachet, which represents my oldest daughter, and the fourth color is Pure Pink, which I will be mixing with a white paint to represent my baby girl Dalen. So in case it wasn't clear, these beads are to represent each member of my family, again going along with kind of the theme of the books. And also what I loved about this idea was that it reminded me of the balloons in Up. So once again, just kind of tying in that little bit of Disney-ness into a farmhouse home decor piece. So I just went ahead and painted these, and just so you guys know, this is kind of a nifty little trick. If you have some wooden skewers, you can put a bunch of the beads on the skewer at a time. My skewers are packed right now, so I just used my thin paintbrushes and put a bead on each paintbrush, and that way I could paint all around the bead, let it dry. I didn't have to hold it and get paint all over my hand. The next step that we're going to be doing is these little chalkboard tags. So I picked these up at Dollar Tree, and what I loved about them is that the other side is wood, so you could totally DIY it or use the chalkboard side. And now that my beads are dry, I'm going to go ahead and pop those off of the paintbrushes. I'm going to be using this large-eyed needle. I got a pack of 4 of these at Hobby Lobby. They were super cheap. And then I'm going to be using this to string some juke twine through the beads. So you don't have to use the needle. I just find it so much easier. And if you're going to be doing a lot of beads, I do think these are very useful tools. But I just strung the 4 beads on, and then I will be adding that little chalkboard tag onto the end. Again, this step is totally optional, but I think it does add a cute little element and make it a lot more Up themed than just having the books. So I didn't want to glue this in case I ever want to change it out, and I just didn't want to deal with gluing it. So I am just going to double knot this little chalkboard tag around with jute twine, which, by the way, they have this type of twine at Dollar Tree. I just picked a pack up from Amazon because I like to buy things more in bulk when I know I'm going to be using a lot of it. And then I also decided to wrap about 4 or 5 layers of this twine around all of the books so that they don't shift around. You could glue your books together, but again, I didn't want to fully damage them, so I just decided to use the jute twine to wrap it all around each book. And I love it because it looks like a little bookmark. So next I'm writing on top of the chalkboard tag, "Adventure is out there," which is one of the biggest quotes from Up. If you wanted to, you could also paint the other side and then add something to it. And that pretty much does it for this project, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I do plan on doing kind of a series of farmhouse Disney crafts. Let me know if you liked this. Do you have any requests of videos or tutorials that you're looking for? And also, if you plan on recreating this, are you going to do it like Up, or are you going to maybe be inspired by another type of film or character? I love talking to you guys in the comments and I look forward to reading them. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!